Welcome everyone to the light of Zion. The light of Zion is our God's word. Yahuwah's word is a lamp for our feet and a light for the road that we travel. Shine your light, O Yahuwah. Let it lead us to your holy mountains. Shine your light, O Yahuwah. Let it lead us back to Zion. Shine your light and let it guide us on our journey back to you. Shine your light, for it is good for me. And with that, I say, welcome to the light of Zion. Hello, and welcome again to the light of Zion. I'm glad that you're able to join again, and I'm hoping that the presentation coming from this channel has been one that is uplifting to you and encouraging to you, helping you to endure and keep the faith until the end. So I'm glad you're able to join again to continue to follow the light coming from a God. Yes, for God's word will continue to shine as a lamp for our feet. It helps us to know where we are in the stream of time, in our journey that we have gone into the earth, among the nations. But it will also keep shining to show us the way that we should follow until we return back to our homeland, the promised land, until we return back to Zion, where our God promised to grant salvation to all the chosen ones of Jacob. So I'm hoping that you will be one of the chosen ones that our God will grant salvation, the ones that we praise and serve our God in Zion at the appointed time. So it's a wonderful hope that is ahead of us. For us to realize that hope, we have to keep pushing forward. We have to keep enduring until the appointed time by our God. For us to continue to do so, we have to continue to follow our leader and our chief agent. And that is the title of this presentation today. It is titled, Follow Our Chief Agent and Leader. Yes, we must follow our chief agent and our leader until we arrive back to Zion. Yes, our chief agent, Yahushua, though he went to heaven to appear before our God with us, but remember his promise. He said that he is with us until the conclusion of the system of things. So even though he is in heaven waiting for our God's appointed time, he is here with us, and he is guiding us, and he is directing our affairs, and he is showing us the path that we should follow, and he is pleading and begging on our behalf before our God. So we should be confident as we continue to follow and to wait and to endure until the end. So let's break this presentation down today. Yahushua, our agent, our chief agent and leader. So follow the leader. Follow the leader. Why must we follow our leader. Well, since the creation of humans on earth, the serpent, the devil, has cunningly misdirected or is misleading humans to follow his rebellious course against the Most High God. So the devil is misleading humans to serve and to obey him as God. Yes, he's misleading humans to obey him and serve him as God instead of the Most High God. So, just as the serpent misled Eve to follow his rebellious pattern, the devil tempts and tries to misdirect and to mislead and then control any human creation who will want to loyally serve and obey Yahuwah the Most High God. The devil wants to mislead and misdirect and misguide and then control any human that wants to do what? To serve and obey Yahuwah as God. But Yahuwah is the Most High God, the creator of all things. But the wicked one, the devil, the serpent, wants to usurp that power and exalt himself as God. So, the serpent, the devil, uses his human children and as agents to carry out his will. Because remember, he produced children that will obey and serve and do his will, according to the prophets at Genesis.3 verse 15. So the human children used by the devil to do his will is the nations of the earth that the devil produced. Yes, the devil has raised them up to use them to do what? To carry out his will on earth. And a good example is nations like the nation of Egypt, the Babylonian civilization, the Greek civilization, the Assyrians, the Roman Empire. All these are nations that God has raised up to use to carry out his will. And remember, his will is to do what? To bruise and to hurt the children, human children raised up by God on earth. So these nations has been doing the will of their father. And the devil's goal is to mislead and to misguide and then control all these nations and exalt himself as God. In the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3 to 4, there is written, in his writing Paul wrote, he said, "But I'm afraid that somehow, as the serpent seduced Eve by his cunning, your mind might be corrupted away from the sincerity and the chastity that are due to Christ, or Yahushua. For as it is, if someone comes to you and preaches another Jesus or another Yahushua, other than the one we preach, you receive a spirit other than what you received, or good news other than what you accepted, you easily put up with him." So Paul was saying that the same way or manner or pattern that the devil seduced Eve and caused Eve to be misdirected and to be misguided or misled and then controlled by the devil, the serpent, the devil. The same way the devil is trying to do what? Mislead and misguide the offspring of God, which is the nation of Israel, and mislead them and misguide them to do what? To serve and worship the devil instead of the true God. or the devil will try to misguide them to follow another Messiah instead of following the true Messiah. So keep that in mind. The devil's goal is to mislead Israel to follow another Messiah instead of the true Messiah. He said somebody will come and preach another gospel, another good news, and you people will then follow that. Paul said he is afraid that this will happen. But my friend, truly it happened, because all Israel was misled and misguided to follow another Messiah, Jesus Christ, and not the true Messiah, Yahushua, our true leader. So we have been told another gospel from what the scriptures originally is explaining. And you can tell by the interpretation of the churches how that they have promoted a different message that will do what encompass everybody. But that's not the original message of the word given to Israel. So the serpent, the devil, cunningly misdirected and misled and corrupted the minds of Israel to accept a false name for the true Messiah, and also the true Messiah and leader to be Jesus Christ instead of Yahushua. So that is the work of the devil. He misled Israel to accept another Messiah, another gospel, instead of Yahushua, our true leader. Now they tell us is Jesus Christ. And they present a different image from the true Messiah. So exactly as their father the devil has done is what they are doing, to do what? Mislead and misguide the offspring of God, the people of God. But Yahushua is the chief loyal one to Yahuwah, the Most High God. He is the chief agent to lead all loyal human children of God to serve the will of God. Yes, Yahushua is the chief loyal one to the Most High God. No matter what the devil tried to do to mislead or to misguide or misdirect Yahushua to do what? To follow his path of rebellion, he did not. He refused, and he remained loyal to the Most High God. So we must follow him as our leader. He is the chief agent that will grant, that will lead all loyal human children of God. We must follow him as leader. So follow the leader. The human children of God must follow the pattern and example set by Yahushua to loyally serve the will of God, the Most High God. Yes, we must follow the pattern set by Yahushua to loyally serve the will of the Most High God. We must not follow the pattern of the rebellion set by the serpent, the devil, and the deceiver. We must not follow that, because his pattern is that of rebellion to the Most High God. So we must not follow that. But Yahushua set a pattern of loyally serving the will of the Most High God. In the book of John, chapter 13, verse 15 to 17, there is written, "For I set the pattern for you, that just as I did to you, you should also do. Most truly I say to you, a slave is not greater than his master, nor is one who is sent greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, happy are you if you do them. I am not talking about all of you. I know the one I have chosen. I know the ones I have chosen. But this was so that the scriptures might be fulfilled. So Yahushua said he has set a pattern for us, the way we should follow, the pattern that we should follow in order to serve the will of the Most High God, our God. So he set the pattern for us. And just as he did, we should also do the same way. So all chosen ones that will serve the Most High God, the will of the Most High God, will follow the leader, Yahushua, our leader, the pattern that he has set out for us to follow. So therefore, the chosen ones must follow the example of loyalty to God, our Creator, to set the pattern set by his Son, Yahushua, to serve the will of our God. Yes, we must follow that pattern. He is our leader. So follow the leader, because all who will loyally serve God will be tempted. All who will loyally serve Yahuwah, the Most High God, will be tempted by the serpent, the devil. Yes, all who will loyally serve Yahuwah, our God, will be tempted by the serpent, the devil. In the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 4 to 13, there is written, after Yahushua has fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, the devil came to him and asked him to do what? To turn stones into bread, because he was hungry. Verse 4, it reads, he said, but Yahushua said to him, it is written, man must not live on bread alone, but by observing every word and decrees of God. So he brought him up and showed him all the kingdoms of the inhabited earth in an instant of time. Then the devil said to him, I will give you all this authority and their glory, because it has been handed over to me, and I give it to whomever I wish. If you therefore do an act of worship before me, it will all be yours. In reply, Yahushua said to him, it is written, it is Yahuwah your God you must worship, and it is to him alone that you must render sacred service. He then led him into Jerusalem and stationed him on the battlement of the temple, and said to him, if you are a son of God, throw yourself down from here, for it is written, he will give his angels a command concerning you, and to preserve you, and they will carry you on their hands, so that you may not strike your foot against a stone. In answer, Yahushua said to him, it is said, you must not put Yahuwah your God to the test. So the devil, having finished all the temptation, departed from him until another convenient time. So, yes, Yahushua, our leader, was tempted. The devil tried to do what? Entice him to do what? To follow his pattern of rebellion, to follow the same course of rebellion, and forget about doing the will of Yahuwah, the Most High God. He offered Yahushua all the kingdoms of the world and the glory, because he said it has been handed over to him. How was it handed over to him? because he stole it from Adam and Eve when he misguided and misled Adam and Eve, and then took control of them. That's how he was handed over to the devil, the serpent, the devil, to control the earth. Because whomever you obey, you becomes your master. So since the devil is the master, they obey the devil, the Satan. He becomes the ruler of the earth. But Yahushua rejected and resisted the devil's offers. At one time he wanted Yahushua to bow down and do an act of worship to him. But he rejected that and said, it's you, Yahuwah, your God, that you should do what? Worship. The same pattern the devil continued to tempt many, especially the Israelites, who are the chosen offspring of God, to mislead us to do what? To offer, do act of worship, to worship the devil as God. But we must reject and resist, just like our leader did. We must follow his pattern of remaining loyal to our God, so that we can serve the will of the Most High God. So Yahushua was tempted by the serpent, the devil. The devil tried to misdirect him and lead him the wrong path as he did Eve. But Yahushua chose to remain loyal to Yahuwah, the Most High God. The same pattern we must follow. So likewise, all who will loyally serve Yahuwah will be tempted by the serpent, the devil. All who will loyally serve the Most High God will be tempted by the serpent, the devil. In the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 9, there is written, so for look, I am giving the command, and I will shake the house of Israel among the nations, just as one shakes a sieve, and not a pebble falls to the ground. So Yahuwah himself said he's going to scatter the house of Israel. Remember, the house of Israel was to be the ones that will serve the children of God, that will bring up the children that will serve the Most High God. But because of disobedience, Yahuwah said he's going to scatter the house of Israel among the nation, and he's going to shake and sieve them. So Israel will be tested and tested to see whether they are truly loyal to the Most High God, the one that has chosen them, or the one that has called them as a chosen people. So they will be checked and tested whether they are truly loyal to Yahuwah or not. So all who will pass the test of these temptations and trials and that the devil will bring upon the descendants of Israel, those who pass the test will return and serve Yahuwah, the Most High God, and follow the example of Yahushua to serve the Most High God. So it is among these nations where Israel was scattered. It is where the devil and his agents, his human children, the human children of Satan, will test the loyalty of all descendants of Israel. And all those who pass the test will return to serve Yahuwah in his kingdom to come. Yes, all those who pass the test will return and serve Yahuwah in his kingdom to come. In the book of Luke, chapter 22, verse 28 to 23, there is written, however, you are the ones who have stuck with me in my trials. I make a covenant with you, just as my Father has made a covenant with me for a kingdom, so that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones to judge the 12 tribes of Israel. Simon, Simon, look, Satan has demanded to have all of you to sift you as wheat. So, yes, Yahushua said that the disciples said to the disciples who had stuck with him during his hours of trials and temptation by the devil. Yes, because he was tested, he was tried as to whether he would really do the will of the Father. But the disciples stood with him, or stuck with him. So he made a promise to them that they would sit on thrones and judge the 12 tribes of Israel when the kingdom is restored. So, yes, all who will serve the Most High God will be tested and tried as to our loyalty to the Most High God. And when we have passed the test, then we will return and Yahushua will rule over us. He will be our leader, our chief agent. But we must pass the test of loyalty to the Most High God. We must remain loyal. We must follow the pattern of loyalty that Yahushua, our leader, has set for us to follow. It is only those not misdirected or misled by the serpent, the devil, that will return and loyally serve Yahuwah, our God. Those not misdirected by the devil to follow the nations, to worship and serve the devil as God. Those not misdirected or misled to join with the nation to serve their God. For by now you have known that the gods of the nations is different from the God of Israel. And it was made clear that their God is not the same as our God. And the nations know it. For the nations, all their sacrifices, they sacrifice to the devil. So all that are not misled or misdirected by the devil are the ones that will return to serve the Most High God in his kingdom. That's why in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 4, there is written, in answer, Yahushua said to them, say, look out that nobody misleads you. Say, look out that nobody misleads you. Because the devil is coming with his children, and they will try to mislead Israel to leave their God and to serve the gods of the nations and to serve the devil. Just like Eve was misled to follow the pattern of rebellion of the devil. So look out that no one mislead you. Follow the pattern set by Yahushua, our leader. So follow the leader, because all who will loyally serve God's will be tempted. The first century disciples of our God and his Son, they loyally resisted the devil until death. Yes, they loyally resisted the devil, all the temptation of the devil to live seeking the will of God, to come and join the nations, to be one with the nations, to leave their God and and serve the gods of the nations. They loyally resisted the devil until their death, just like Yahushua, our leader, did. The same pattern we should also follow. So likewise we, the last days disciples of our God and his Son, we will follow the pattern of loyalty set by our leader to resist the offers of the serpent, the devil. So we will loyally resist the offers of the serpent, the devil. The serpent, the devil, may tempt and test you using hunger and starvation in these last days to make you to abandon what? Seeking your God. Seeking the way to do the will of your God. He may offer you so many things, even the whole riches of the earth, as long as you do not do what? Seek your God. But we must resist, just like the first century disciples resisted, just like our leader Yahushua resisted, even unto death. The devil may tempt us to bow down and worship and serve him with a promise of giving us the world riches and power, as long as we rebel against God with him. But we must resist that temptation. It is written, Yahuwah your God, you must do what? Worship. To him you will render sacred service. So our service and our worship is directed to our God and not to anyone else. So we must resist the devil pressures and temptations to cause us to serve him as God. The devil may tempt us in every way to break our loyalty to the Most High God, our Creator. But we must resist. We must follow the pattern set by Yahushua, our leader, and our chief agent to deliver all the loyal human children of God. So we must follow the pattern of loyalty that they have set for us. Serve Yahuwah, our God, serve his will, endure until the end. So we must follow that pattern to resist the wicked one. So follow the leader, all who will loyally serve God will be tempted. After the death of Yahushua and the death of the first century disciples of our God, the devil succeeded in exalting himself as God and misleading the entire earth. Yes, after the death of the Messiah and the first century disciples of our God, the devil succeeded in doing what? Exalting himself as God on earth and misleading the entire earth. The devil hid the truth about who the true God is. He hid the truth of who the true Creator is, Yahuwah, our God. The devil hid the truth about the true Son of God, Yahushua, and who the chosen race and people to serve God is. The devil hid all this truth as he exalted himself as God over the earth. The devil presented himself as God on earth and then presented a false Messiah. He presented a false image, Jesus Christ, as the Son of God. Yes, the devil did all this to mislead the entire inhabited earth. So the devil presented a false people also. The book of Revelation 3:9. The devil presented a false people to replace the true chosen people of God as the children of the Most High God. So do not be misled by the devil, the serpent, the devil. because his goal is to misdirect, misguide, and mislead, and then control. So the devil tried to hide all the truths about the true Creator, Yahuwah, the Most High God. The devil tried to hide the truth about who the true Son of God is, Yahushua, and replaced him with Jesus Christ. The devil tried to hide who the true people of God are, the chosen race, and replace them with another people who said they are Jews, but they are not. They are not. So the devil did all this in order to do what? Mislead and misguide the people, the chosen people of God who are to serve the Most High God, the will of the Most High God. So follow the leader, because all who will loyally serve Yahuwah must leave everything behind at the appointed time. Yes, all who will serve Yahuwah must leave everything behind at the appointed time in order to serve the will of Yahuwah our God. As in the first century, when the serpent tempted Yahushua and the disciples of our God to bow to serving his will and his kingdom, but they rejected and resisted. So we must also follow the same pattern and resist even to death. We must resist the devil offers to serve his kingdom, to serve him as God, even if to death. We must remain loyal to our God. Book of John chapter 18 verse 36, there is written, Yahushua answered, my kingdom is not part of this world. If my kingdom were part of this world, my attendants would have thought that I should not be handed over to you. But as it is, my kingdom is not part of this source. So even Yahushua truly, clearly understood that his kingdom is not part of this present Satan's kingdom or system. Said if his kingdom was part of this world, his attendants, his angels and others would have thought that he would not be handed over to the Jews. But because he knew that his kingdom is not part of this present one, he submitted and did the will of God, allowed the devil and his children to do what? To bruise and to hurt him. And the devil and his children will continue to bruise and to hurt the chosen, the children of God, until what is written is fulfilled in the book of Genesis chapter 3 verse 15. So we must follow the same pattern that they have followed. They left everything behind and seek to do what the will of God is for them at that point in time in history. They submitted loyally to do the will of the Most High God. The same way we must search out what the will of God is for us in these last days and submit and loyally follow the will of God to do it. The book of Matthew chapter 19 verse 27 to 29, there is written, Then Peter said in reply, Look, we have left everything and followed you. What then would there be for us? Yahushua said to them, Truly I say to you, in the recreation when the Son of Man sits down on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will sit on the 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone who has left houses or brother or sister or father or mother or children or land for the sake of my name will receive 100 times as much and will inherit everlasting life. So Peter made it reminded Yahushua that they have left everything to follow his pattern of loyalty to Yahuwah God, to serve the will of our God. And Peter was asking what is going to be there for them. Okay? So Yahushua said there is a recreation that is coming. There is a restoration that is coming. So when his kingdom arrives, all those who have left everything to follow his pattern of loyalty to Yahuwah, to serve the will of our God, so those who have left mothers or fathers or children or land for his sake, they will also do what? They will receive 100 times as much and also will inherit everlasting life. So this is a pattern that we must follow at the appointed time. All the chosen ones must follow our leader Yahushua, the pattern that he has set for us. We must leave everything behind to seek and to do the will of our God at the appointed time in the history. So yes, be ready for it, because all who loyally serve Yahuwah must leave everything behind at the appointed time to serve the will of God. Yahushua did that. The first century disciples did that. And we in these last days must follow the same pattern to serve the will of our God at the appointed time. We must leave everything behind of this Satan's system in order to serve the will of our God. So follow the leader, because all who loyally serve must leave everything behind. At the appointed time of the end and time to serve the will of our God, all chosen ones will leave everything of this present devil's kingdom to seek, to serve, and to do the will of God. Yahushua and the first century disciples set the pattern for us to follow. In the book of Matthew chapter 4 verse 17, there is written, "From that time on, Yahushua began preaching and saying, 'Repent, for the kingdom of the heavens has drawn near.'" So there is an appointed time, because Yahushua knew the appointed times. So as that appointed time approached, they left everything behind and began doing what? Carrying out the will of God, which is to proclaim the good news that God's kingdom is approaching, to do what? To execute the next foretold judgment, or the next scheduled thing in the calendar of God. So they left everything to do what? To serve the will of the Most High God. Likewise, we in these last days should follow the same example. 3.5 years to the appointed time of the end is when the chosen ones will start again to announce the coming of the kingdom of heaven, to execute the foretold things by our God. 3.5 years before the appointed time. That is the pattern Yahushua followed. That is pattern that the first century disciples followed with the Messiah. They left everything behind to do what? To declare the good news about God's kingdom coming, to execute the next scheduled appointed thing on the calendar of God. And we must follow the same pattern in these last days. So we must find out of the appointed times of the things foretold, the vengeance of our God on the nation, the restoration of Zion, the establishment of God's kingdom on earth, and so many other things that was foretold to take place. And we must follow the same pattern as they approach to leave everything behind, to declare to the people, to the nations, of what the judgment of our God that is coming. So follow the leader, know the appointed times. Yahushua, our leader, knew of the appointed times of God. And that's why they were able to leave everything in order to follow, to do the will of our God, to serve the will of our God. So all Israel must bear punishment for our error for 2 days, and then return to our God, Yahuwah, our God, and his Son. That is what is written in the scriptures. That is what was foretold. All Israel must bear punishment for our error for 2 days, and then return to Yahuwah, our God, and to his Son to lead us. In the book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 1 and 2, there is written, "Come and let us return to Yahuwah, for he has torn us to pieces. But he will heal us. He struck us, but he will bind our wounds. He will revive us after 2 days. On the 3rd day he will raise us up, and we will live before him." So those that are following the leader should pay attention to the appointed times. Israel is to bear error for 2,000 years or 2 days, and then be raised up on the 3rd day. So as we pay attention to the time, we can know when to leave everything behind and seek to do the will of our God. If we are paying attention to the appointed times, we should know when to leave everything behind and to seek to do the will of our God, which is to return back to him, or to declare the good news about his next coming judgment or decision. So the Apostle Peter, in the book of 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8, he reminded us of this concerning the punishment on Israel. He said, "However, do not let this escape you. Have noticed, beloved ones, that 1 day is with Yahuwah as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day." So Peter reminded us that 1 day with Yahuwah God is 1,000 years. So since he says he's going to punish Israel for 2 days, that means for 2,000 years Israel will bear punishment. And after that Israel will return to Yahuwah and to his Son. So know the appointed times, so that you should know when to leave everything behind in order to seek to return to Yahuwah, your God. The punishment started with the death of the Messiah in the year AD 33. For in the book of Amos chapter 9 verse 11 there is written, chapter 9 verse 1, there it is written, "I saw Yahuwah stationed above the altar, and he said, strike the head of the pillar, and the threshold will shake. Cut them off at the head, and I will kill the last one of them with the sword. No one who flees will get away, and no one will trying to escape will succeed." So the punishment on Israel, the nation of Israel, will start with the death or striking of the head of the pillar or the chief agent of our salvation. He said once the chief agent is put to death is when this punishment will follow the people of Israel. So wherever they run to, this punishment or the sword or rod will continue to follow Israel until Israel completes the 2 days or 2,000 years punishment among the nations. So no one will get away from it, and no one will escape So AD 33 plus 2,000 years, that will get you to the year 2033. And that is when the punishment will end. So, but no one knows the exact day or the exact hour in the year 2033 when this will all be done. We come to its end. But we can tell that yes, it will end around the year 2033 by what is written. So prior to that time, 3.5 years to the end, the chosen ones will do what? Will be ready to leave everything behind of this system to seek to return to Yahuwah, to serve and to do his will. Yes, to seek to return to the back to the kingdom of our God and serve our God. So, yes, follow the leader, know the appointed times, and know when it is time to leave everything of this system behind, to seek to do and to serve the will of Yahuwah our God. So, that being the case, again, I thank you for paying attention. We must follow our leader. We must follow the pattern that he has set for us. This is the pattern of loyally serving the will of our God. We must follow the same pattern at the appointed times, 3.5 years to the end. The chosen ones will leave everything behind to declare abroad the good news of our God returning, the good news of the kingdom being restored, the good news of God bringing the vengeance he foretold long ago. You have to follow the pattern. There is a pattern that we must follow, which our leader and the first century disciples set for us, so that we can serve the will of our God. So all who are not misdirected or misled or misguided by the devil, we follow the pattern that Yahushua, our leader and chief agent, has set for us to follow. It's a pattern of loyalty to our God. Again, we are given the warning, do not let anyone mislead you, even the devil or his children. They may tell you, oh, you don't need to seek for your God. We should worship the same God. They may tell you that this, that. They may offer you the world, so as long as you do not seek for the kingdom of your God or seek to return to your God. But we must follow the pattern set by Yahushua, our leader, to seek to return and to remain loyal and serve our God. So I hope this brings enlightenment to you and encouraging to you. Keep on seeking for Yahuwah our God. Keep on seeking to serve his will. Keep praying that he lead you and protect you so that you do not fall into the temptations of the devil and his children, but that you should remain loyal to our God and wait until his appointed times. Until I come to you next time, from the light of Zion, remain blessed and peace to you until I come again to you. Thank you.